Mr. and Mrs. Burling, their son and daughter, Eric and Sheila, and Sheila's partner, Gerald, who she became married to, and obviously Inspector Gould. So those are the characters. Oh, and Eva Smith, who later on in the play becomes Daisy Renton. So the play opens in the Burlings' dining room. They are having a celebration of the engagement of Gerald and Sheila. Obviously there's some alcohol, so just chilling out there, this engagement party. So that's that. And then there is a knock at the door, and the inspector is brought into the play, and that was my phone going off. I had to put it on silent. That was the knock on the door was for the inspector, who wished to speak to the Burlings about the death of a young lady who had committed suicide after swallowing strong disinfectant. Inspector first questions Mr. Burling, as Eva Smith had worked for him about 2 years before her death. She had worked for him in his factory, and he had fired her because of a row over the amount of pay that the girls in the factory were getting. So he fired her. And that was the last Mr. Burling saw or heard of the girl. And then she got another job in Millwards, which was a department store in the city where the Burlings lived, and the city's called Bromley, and it's classed as an industrial city, so, so the department store in Bromley was where Eva Smith got her next job. And during a position there, the daughter of the Burling, Sheila, came in and obviously did her business, but there was one particular day when she was in a foul mood, fighting with her mother about what would look nice, and Eva obviously said, "I'll try it on if you want this," so Sheila tries it on and it looks hideous, and she thinks that Eva was laughing at her, so she storms off to the manager and says, "If that girl, meaning Eva, is still there next time I come in, I'll get my father to close my account with you guys." So that was that. That was the last Sheila saw of the girl. The next thing that happens in responsible for looking out for each other. And a key line is, there are lots of other Eva Smiths and John Smiths out there just waiting to be helped. And that is basically saying that there are lots of poor common people, for want of better words. They need the upper classes' help to live, basically. Another interesting thing about the inspector is his name. He's Inspector Cool. And it's spelled G-O-L-E, I think. Hang on, let me grab the book. I'm so pissed off because our phone keeps going off and it's really annoying. See if I can find out how to spell cool. Yeah, Inspector Cool, so I can't find out how it's spelled, but I'm fairly sure it's Inspector Cool, which I think is intentional because it sounds a bit like a ghost. Cool is spelled two different ways, cool as in ghost, and in this sense is cool. So that's quite cool. And another interesting thing is that when Mr. Burling rings the police station to find out if there is an Inspector Cool on their books, that he gets told, "No, sir, we have no such body on our register." And